Hello, this is BURROW and welcome to another part of my burrow worm tutorial. This time we're going to be creating the paint job as I said earlier. First of all, I coated the armor plating and head area with bright blue and then used some red for it to make it look purplish. Then I used just basic green and yellow to make the stomach area. And this turned out pretty nice. After the armor plating was dried out enough for the base coating, I decided to mix some more purple and color it again on top of it. And next up, the teeth area, or the mouth area actually. I decided I wanted the mouth to be red, but the teeth were in the way, so I diluted the paint quite much with water so that it flows through the teeth and into the mouth. And afterwards, when I'm gonna paint the teeth white, it's gonna turn out quite good. Next up, I used the same purple that I used for the armor plates and diluted it with water quite much. And I used this like a wash on the stomach area. At first it looks like I just botched this experiment here, but when I used more water to dilute it, it fell down into the cracks, and actually my fingerprints might show up in the stomach area, so it looks like a dirty earthworm. Next up, I used white paint for all the teeth and bone areas. This is how it looks like right now. Then I painted the whole base area with black. Next up, I used some very light purple and started dry brushing the whole model around the armor plating area. Then I used some red paint and decided to paint the gum area around the outsticking bones. A fun fact, this may be the best model that I've built so far, and I didn't realize it will turn out looking so good. Then I used brown color on the base on top of the black one to make it more look like a dirt ground and not as much like a rock. Then I took a small brush and used white paint on the edges and on the highlight areas of the armor plating. And once that was drying, I dry brushed around the base area with a light whitish brown. Then I decided to make it look a bit more glossy around the armor plating. I do not have any gloss varnish, so what I use usually is PVA glue and water. If you use enough layers of the mix, it will start looking glossy, and still it's not as good as a glossy varnish, so I advise you to use the glossy varnish if you just have it. After all the paint was dried, I realized that the model was a bit too dark, so I decided to paint again on top of the armor plating area with light blue color, and then turn it to purple by adding some red to it. And this way I managed to make it a bit more bright, since most of the models, when I'm using the basic acrylic craft paints, they turn out a bit too like unsaturated. And after that I used white color to add the highlights around the edges and on top of the armor plates. and dry brushed around the edges. Then again, I used the white paint to drop paint in the highlight areas all around the armor plate. For the last part, I decided to put some saliva dripping from the monster's mouth. So I took the hot glue gun and some baking paper, and then I just put some hot glue on the baking paper like so. After the hot glue was dried out, I used some super glue to attach them around the monster's mouth, and this is what it looks like in the end. I am quite happy with how it turned out, and actually straight after when I got this ready, I played a game of Rangers of Shadow Deep, and an earthworm or a burrow worm attacked us, so it was nice to actually get it on the table right on the next day. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.